Hi, I'm Alicia and welcome to my channel Papercraft Secrets. Today I'm sharing how to create an explosion box, and this is using the beautiful Stamperia Cosmos papers. I'm going to take you step by step through the process of how to create this explosion box. And even if you don't have the Stamperia Cosmos papers, you could modify this tutorial to use any of your Stamperia papers that you have at home. So let's get started. To begin with, you're going to need a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. I'm using a craft cardstock. We're going to score it at 4 inches and again at 8 inches. Then rotate your page, score again at 4 inches and 8 inches. And you can see you've created 9 boxes on your 12 by 12 piece of paper. The next step is we're going to trim the corners off in a diagonal line. So we're going to line up the scoring lines on our paper trimmer and then trim off those corners so that you're actually removing a triangle shape. We're going to do that for each corner of our square, and this will actually create an octagon shape. The next step is to fold on the score lines and smooth down with a boning folder. This allows us to create the shape of our box. The next step is we create little corners by folding with our bone folder. We crease that down in the corner there, and this forms our little box shape. So you can see how I'm pressing that in, and then I get my boning folder tool and I smooth that crease down. So that's a nice firm fold. Repeat it again on all the corners. And smooth that down. And the last one, fold it in and then smooth that down. And that creates the base of our box. Our next step is to create the lid for our box. We're going to need another 12 by 12 inch cardstock, piece of cardstock. I'm cutting mine at 6 1/8 by 6 1/8. But since making this video, I actually like to cut them at 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. It just gives you that little bit more smidgen of a room to make a lid that fits very easily. Your next step is to take your scoring board, score at 1 inch, turn your card, 1 inch, turn your card. Once you've done that, you need to fold those lines. So you've done your 1 inch score line on every edge of that square, and now you're just simply folding that score line. Your next step is to take a sharp pair of scissors, trim a little triangle on the score line and the outer edge on each little corner, and this creates a tab. We're only taking out a tiny little bit of cardstock on each corner. There we go. That's perfect. Now we will glue these little tabs and this will create the lid of our box. Just glue those in. Hold for a little bit while the glue sets. Then we're going to put some glue on our other tabs. Then we're going to hold that on. It does take just a little bit of patience, a little bit of just holding that box still while the glue dries. And then our lid fits beautifully on top of our box. Our next step is to cut some squares measuring 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we're going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 Cosmos paper to do this. We'll have a scrap that we're going to keep those scraps because we will use them on the lid of our box. So this is our 3 3/4 squares. Keep those little scraps. As you're cutting, don't throw them away because we'll use those. We're going to do all of the paper from this beautiful page. And this will allow us to decorate our box. Here's our box. Here are our little squares. Decide what side of the paper that you want to see as decoration for your box. And then position the paper in the middle of each of the sides, and we leave a border around the edge of each of those sides. That's looking good. We've done all 4 now. Let's put one on the lid. Now these little scraps are going to go on the sides of our lid. So we're not wasting any beautiful Stamperia paper with this project. Everything's being used. I'm just going to cut another one to 3 3/4 so that we can pop that on the last side of the lid. Very nice. This is actually a male birthday card, but it could also be given to a female as well. Somebody that really likes astrology. There's our box. Let's put a little square on the bottom as well, so that everything's covered and looking really nice. I love the color of that paper. Those other squares we will use a little bit later when we're doing our triangles. But right now I'm going to choose another piece of paper and I'm going to start cutting that exactly the same, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to keep my scraps for later. Okay, here we go, making our squares, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we just go through that whole paper and we cut out our squares and we save our little scraps, just like we did on the first piece. And again, you can choose any papers you like from the Cosmos Collection or one of your favourite Stamperia collections. Now for the difficult choice of what side of the paper to use. Alright, so what we're doing here is we are gluing our squares onto the inside of the box. Now we've already done the outside of the box. Now we're moving on to the inside. So you can see from these papers that they are fairly gender neutral, but I am creating a male birthday card for this video. Let's put some paper in the middle. There we go. That's looking really good. Our next step is we are going to cover the corners of our box, and that means that we need triangles. So we're going to use these little squares that we haven't used yet, and you need to cut them on a diagonal so that you'll have 2 triangles, and then you need to cut that again so you'll have 4 triangles from each square. You just want to cut it as accurately as you can. In total, you'll need 2 squares for the inside of the box and 2 squares for the outside of the box, and that equals 8 triangles altogether once you've cut them all into 4 bits. So let's have a look at where these are going to go. I'm just popping some glue on the back of this one here, and I'm sticking it on this corner here. I like the contrast of the deep navy blue next to the papers that I've put on the inside of the box. So you might like to consider that. You don't have to use a contrast paper, but it does sort of give the eye a little bit more to look at. I have made the box previously with the same paper, and I find it's a little bit too much of the same colors. So I tend to go for a contrast for the corners now, just so that it looks a little bit more interesting. Pop those on. That's all looking really good now, and the sides of our box are done. Let's decorate the inside lid. You can choose any paper that you like for the inside. I'm going to use something that matches the inside of the box. And then I've got my little scraps that I cut off before that I'm going to pop on the inside of the sides of the box. And just adding these scraps on the inside, just like we did before on the top of the box. You have to trim one down because there's not enough scraps. There we go, looking amazing. This is looking very good. That's such a pretty box. I love the Cosmos papers. Got a real mysterious, magical feel. Now I like to add some words onto my box. I like to give people's eyes something to read on the inside. So I'm using this page from the same collection, and I'm looking for some quotes that are written in English and something that I think I might be able to include in my box. Alright, I've got a few little bits and pieces there. I've got some little tags which are very cute. I'm thinking maybe I might put some twine through those tags to add a little bow. There's my 2 little tags, and that natural twine really matches my craft cardstock. I found some larger tags on another sheet inside the Cosmos 12 by 12 paper pack. And I thought, why not keep going with this little tag theme, and we'll make some larger tags as well to go inside our box. They needed to just be trimmed down a little bit because they were a little bit too tall for my box, but that's okay. I could just trim a little bit off the bottom. I'm just using some recycled cardboard to put on the back of my tags, and this will allow them to elevate slightly from the sides of the box and just add a little bit of dimension to my box. So I'm just going through and adding that recycled cardboard to the backs of my tags in preparation for adding them to the box. And I'm keeping the decorations very simple for this project. So I'm just adding on these little tags, one onto each side of the box, and that can decorate our box nicely. I've also found this circular element that I've cut from the paper pack. I'm going to pop that on the bottom of the box for decoration. Now, because this is a 40th birthday card, I'm using some number stickers, and I've popped that onto some craft cardstock, and I'm going to cut around my number stickers, leaving a small border around the black, and that will be the numbers for the card. I'm using acetate. I'm gluing some acetate strips onto the back of the numbers so that I can stick those numbers up in the center of the card. So as the box opens and explodes, you'll see these numbers standing up. I'm also using a wooden sentiment, a happy birthday sentiment. So just bend my acetate over so that it can stand up. I'll put some acetate on the back of the happy birthday as well, so that it can stand up just in front of the number 40. So I'm going to glue those numbers down and my happy birthday sentiment down into the center of the box now. And then the last thing I'm going to do is decorate the lid. I found another circle from the Elements page. I've got another happy birthday chipboard sentiment. So I'm just going to keep this very simple, seeing it's a masculine card, and just pop that on top there like that. So this is the completed box. We've got the happy birthday at the front, the beautiful Cosmos paper on the outside of the box and on the lid. When you open the lid, the box explodes outwards, showing us with number 40 and our happy birthday sentiment. What a great male birthday card, or, you know, a not so male birthday card. An explosion box using the amazing Stamperia Cosmos papers. Have you tried creating an explosion box card before? And if you have, do you enjoy it? I loved this project, and I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely crafty day.